Okay, it has nothing to do with the product, but it was the closest thing I had to hard rock. We're looking at Cyberpunk Red. It's 12 noon on the 4th day of September. It's 73 degrees and sunny here at Site B. Here we are broadcasting from the heart of Cyberpunk, Fresno, Nevada, to look at Cyberpunk Red. Cyberpunk Red was part of the huge Humble Bumble last month. 57 games for $40. This is one of the ones I was really excited about because I was such a huge Cyberpunk fan. I mean, I jumped on the Cyberpunk bandwagon from day one, man. I wore the clothes, I wrote stuff. I worked on the product with Talsorian. I worked on Cyber Generation. I got a chance to be in a Cyberpunk TV show. I'm probably one of the only of 5 people in the world who have saw a copy of the Cyberpunk soap opera. I wrote a Cyberpunk movie that became something else. But yeah, I was huge into Cyberpunk. And then I wasn't. Like punk, it was meant to burnt out. So after a while, I just got tired of it and moved on to other things. Plus, I was working in the industry and had to look vaguely professional. And just kind of one day went, I really love the genre, but I do look kind of silly. So speaking of silly, let's take a look at the system and see if it's changed since the last time we looked at Cyberpunk, which was, Cyberpunk 2020. Of course, Cyberpunk 2020 has come and gone. So the future that Mike predicted, not quite come true. The closest we have to towns that look like this, there's towns in Korea, parts of Japan, especially the more industrialized parts of Japan, look close to this. There's a town in China that looks really close to this. Dubai is very, very cutting edge glass and chrome. Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles, especially where near the where the Clippers play, is borderline, and at least it has the combination of state-of-the-art buildings and abandoned buildings. You guys know about the abandoned skyscrapers in LA, especially around where the Staples Centers is, where the Clippers play. So there's all these just skyscrapers and office buildings that are just empty and have been for a while because they didn't have enough money to finish them. And, they can't really take them down and they don't know what to do with them. So there's just these empty skyscrapers and, they're supposed to be closed off, but, people are squatting in them and urban explorers go in them all the time and the police try and chase us off. So that's pretty cyberpunk. But probably, somebody once said, what's the closest thing to the Blade Runner city? And I would have to say China, probably some of the more industrialized corporate parts of China. They even have a building in China that at night, I think it's Hong Kong, that spouts out flame. So it's exactly like the building from Blade Runner. All right. So, but yeah, I think the sprawl was supposed to be Seattle. Seattle looks nothing like this. So yeah, so here we have some Cyberpunk cast and crew. All right. So basically, has this changed at all since whatchamacallit? Is it still interlock? Does it still use the same system, or has it changed? What's new? What's different? I mean, I love the system. This is 400 and some odd pages, 425 pages that I got for, $40. This game on its own was probably, is there a character sheet? Okay. Yeah, no. All right. What's with the sideways character sheets, guys? How am I supposed to work with that? This is the third game I've seen with the site. Who decided this is a design thing and that this was a good idea? So if I were to print this out, it would come out looking like this. And then I'd have to, face it top to bottom, which would mean that I would have a rectangle character record sheet instead of a square character record sheet. And it doesn't really give me enough room to fill in the dots as opposed to the normal character top down. So when did this become a design choice and why? But anyways, here's the character sheet. Yep, int, ref, dx, tech, cool, will, luck, move, body, empathy. They changed empathy. Did they get rid of humanity? That was one of my favorite things in Cyberpunk was humanity and losing humanity. Hit points, death saves, humanity. Yep, there it is. Okay, yeah, losing humanity. Still there. So 450 pages. 213. Is that when he started writing it? 2013? Was that when you started writing it, Mike? When did Neromancer come out? Because right, Neromancer was probably the beginning of the cyberpunk fad. Or, I mean, they had Blade Runner, obviously, and Black Magic M66, but do androids dream of electric sheep? Was that really the starting of cyberpunk, or was Neromancer, which is Gibson, started? Gibson coined the word. I don't know if anybody knows that. The term cyberspace. That was Gibson's word. And as he said so himself, and they never let me forget it. So here we have the story, live fast, die young, leave a recognizable corpse so the trauma team knows who you are. We've got some chrome. We've got a guy. This is probably Johnny Silverhands. If you guys are familiar with our good friend T-shirt Historian, he is a huge fan of the cyberpunk, and especially Johnny Silverhand and Keanu Reeves. Whoa, I'm Johnny Silverhand. I just watched Ballerina from the John Wick's things, and yeah, just whenever he's still him, even though it wasn't a movie about him. It wasn't a great movie. I expected it to be better. But if you're familiar with the John Wick world and want to know more about the weird John Wick world, this is a good movie to find out more about the politics and the weird tribes. And is everybody in that world an assassin? Where is this place? So here we have the creeds of cyberpunk: live fast, die young, leave an unrecognizable corpse so nobody knows who you are, rebel against rebellion. Intro to cyberpunk, about the corpse, the weapons, cyberpunk, cyberware, humanity. I doubt this has changed much. This is just basically, time passed. So everything we predicted in, 84, 85, 86 of happening by 2020, well, 2020 came and went, and the technology went in different ways. And there's a lot of things that we predicted in cyberpunk that came 100% true. Cell phones, and other things that haven't. We're just only now seeing the level of cybernetics that cyberpunk predicted with some of the prosthetics, like, especially if you follow Tilly, the girl with the cybernetic hands, and the new Nero cybernetic hands she just got, where she can actually separate the hand from the arm and mentally control where the hand goes through, by thinking, move, and the arm translates the message to the hand, so the hand can, go off sort of like a remote toy. So that's pretty close to cyberpunk. Drones are definitely there. We don't have 100% flying cars yet, but we do have the large drone, man-sized drones. I've seen the man-sized drones. They fly them out by Summerland, or at least they were them when we saw them. They're scary. I mean, they're awesome, but they're scary because you don't need a pilot's license to fly them. All you need to do is to be 18 years old and take a 60-minute test. And then you can fly this man-powered drone. So that'll be interesting to see where the flying cars go. Drugs. Definitely drugs did not go the way we thought drugs would go in Cyberpunk. There's no injectable nanites or super soldier formulas. Drugs are pretty much stayed the same. I mean, we've got Molly, we've got fentanyl, we've got coke, we've got heroin, we've got ecstasy, we've got marijuana, we've got, all the same drugs we've always been taking. There hasn't really been any major investments in drugs, just easy to get them. So yeah, patches didn't happen, still, I think the only patch thing is the caffeine patch and the nicotine patch. Here's the keywords. Love the words. I wrote did you guys know I wrote the Cyberpunk Dictionary, which I don't know what Barry Osser ever did with it. I should probably try and get that back from him. My mom keeps giving me crap about I should reprint it. And I was like, yeah, I don't. Barry has the files. I don't know what happened to the files. I made my money off the Cyberpunk Dictionary in the late 80s, early 90s. And then it's like, well, everything that is in that dictionary is already passed. And nobody uses those words anymore. So it's sort of pointless. It was a great moment in time, cyberpunk, and being in LA in the time of Blade Runner, and being a punk and being a cyberpunk, 1984. 1989, 1990, 1991. It was fun, you know. It was I wouldn't say it was the best part of my life, but it was a damn good part of my life. It was also damn miserable. I still don't have cybernetic eyes, Mike. Do we have cybernetic eyes yet? I mean, we have limbs, and we have 3D printed livers, and a few other body parts. I don't know if we've done artificial eyes yet. I know we're close. I definitely know we've made a lot of advancements with hearing and allowing hearing people who couldn't hear to hear with the improvements in colloquial imprints. We know that Elon Musk is working on some type of chip. But yeah, let's face it, in the terms of cybernetic advancements, especially in medical and military, no. I mean, we do have robot dogs, and we do sort of have power armor, kind of, not really. But yeah, there's a lot of things that didn't happen. Technology went different ways. Computers, did computers get better? Faster, better graphics. The threat of AI, but it's like we've been worrying about AIs for 20 years now, guys. If it was going to happen, it should already have happened, right? So we got the rocker boy, or rocker girl in this case. Sometimes some of the words never made mistakes. So, did rocker boys happen? Did people just spontaneously doing concerts? Sort of. Yeah. I mean, we have flash mobs. Do rocker boys and rock influence politics? Well, I mean, Taylor Swift is probably one of the most powerful human beings on the planet, but I mean, despite the millions of Taylor Swift people who voted for Kamala Harris, she didn't win, but she still remains relevant. The idea of live fast, die young, leave a recognizable corpse, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, that's still a thing. Rock has not changed, I mean, sure, there's different generations of rock. We've got K-pop now. K-pop is probably the most cyberpunk thing you're going to see. Gibson once said that Zig Zig Sputnik was like the perfect cyberpunk band back then. I suppose if you asked him now, he would say K-pop and J-pop and J-metal are probably the cyberpunk music. Then we got the solo cybernetically enhanced soldiers. Yeah, I mean, we got a lot more today. Black market, wetworks, military, industrial security firms out there, especially in the Middle East and Africa. And we know that they're doing things. We know there's been lots of advancements in weapons and body armor and knives, but using drones has definitely become a thing, and using both, ground drones and air drones. So that much has happened, but it's probably not quite as close to this as we would think, but pretty damn close. So I would say, and with the advancements of military tech, and if with the prevalence of private industrial security firms, and yeah, I mean, it's interesting that the gangs are still better armed than the soldiers, but I would say this is probably the closest to what actually nope, not even close. Sure, we have VR, and sure, the advancements have made in computer hacking, especially with malware and phishware and viruses, has definitely happened. You have the term script kiddies now, or just anybody can just hack the net and the dark web, and cyber crimes, definitely popular. And of course, robots and AIs with Megan. But the in the net, the uploading your brain to a computer, not yet. I don't even know if we're close. Maybe another 50 years. Techs, I mean, yeah, of course, this has, it's amazing sometimes what levels of technology have changed and what levels of technology remain stuck in the 40s. Like, when was the last time you went to the eye doctor? I have to go to the eye doctor all the time because of what's going on with my eyes and brains. And I swear to God, it's the exact same stuff as when I was 12. Nothing has changed at the eye doctor. And you would think, dude, you've got cameras that could see molecules now, You've got X-rays and M-rays and MRIs powerful enough to show you microfractures. You can't improve the technology to tell you what my prescription is. It is exactly the same as it was when I was 11. So yeah, it's always amazing to me what technology is, space, futuristic, and what technology isn't, and why. I guess in some cases it's why improve it. It's good the way it is. No, it's not. I mean, dentists too, right? Exactly the same. Exactly the same. So yeah, tech is pretty much the same. Medicine, yeah. It's funny how we would think medicine would be one of the most advanced fields other than military, but yeah, it's not. I mean, hospitals are overcrowded. Half the time people are getting misdiagnosed. Insurance sucks, especially if you live in America. The prevalence of diseases, despite us being a quote unquote first world country, is awful. I mean, people are getting sick all the time, and every day we discover some new variant to COVID. So, yeah, I don't think medicine is caught up to what we predicted in Cyberpunk. I mean, some of the technology is better, especially like MRI technology and robot operations, but some of the technology is exactly the same. As somebody who has spent a lot of time at doctors' offices and neurologists' offices and has gotten lost in the hospital more than once, and just, yeah, nothing's changed. There's still people just laying in, I have to lay in the hallway because they don't have a rule for me yet. Oh, really? When did you get here? Tuesday. Last month. Yeah. So sorry, I think predictions for the medical future has pretty much not been successful. Media? Oh, God, yes. Anybody with a camera now. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, Twitch, Twitter, Iron Mouse, VTubers. I think media has surpassed what we predicted. Remember Max Headroom? Oh, we're way past that. Yeah, media, cameras the size of buttons. What I have in a complete functioning film studio in my phone. Yeah, definitely. This is 100%. Corporates. Yeah, it hasn't changed. Corporations haven't changed. The technology of running a corporation hasn't changed. The power structure hasn't changed. So yeah, I think that's true. Law and order. I mean, yeah, definitely. When it comes to technology and military and all that stuff, the police definitely get the worst of it. And especially now with everything that's going on where the police have to second guess everything they do. And they don't have the funding. And if they do their job, 9 out of 10 times people give them crap for doing their job, or they get in trouble. Yeah, it sucks to be a police officer right now. But has the technology improved? I mean, they do have robot dogs, but yeah, I mean, the special departments of the police, like SWAT and, National Guard and stuff like that. But just Joe on the street in the black and white. Yeah, last time I saw a cop and talked to him, the stuff they had on was pretty much the same stuff they had on when I was a kid. So I don't think police work has improved. I mean, sure, we have drones, but people always say the gangs and the criminals have better stuff than the police do because the police don't have to worry about things. The gangs and the criminals don't have to worry about requisitioning. They don't have to worry about limited budgets. If a criminal needs a drone to commit a crime, they go to Target and buy a drone. If the police officer needs a drone to track a crime, he's got to go through paperwork. He's got to get it okayed. He's got to make sure he's not stepping on anybody else's toes. And he's got to, whatever. So yeah, don't think police have really caught up. Fixers. I don't know anybody who does this. I mean, I'm probably the closest person I know to a fixer. So people like me, I guess. But yeah, I don't know about this one. Nomads, more so than ever. More so. This is a prediction that came 100% true. I mean, so many people are doing van life and doing digital nomads. Fuck. I mean, I'd be a digital nomad if I didn't have this stupid house. Steve and me on the road. Yeah, this is definitely. And I think more and more people will adopt this lifestyle for better or worse. All right, so here we have how to make a character. So far, this has just been more of a philosophy and then talking about the system, because let's face it, the system hasn't changed. This interlock was perfect for what it was then. It's one of those systems that works great with certain genres, but when you try and make it for other genres, it doesn't work. Like, and interlock works perfect for Mechton, Japanese stuff, anime, cyberpunk. A lot of the stuff that they made it for works perfect. Why is my broom vibrating? Are we having an earthquake? I think we just had an earthquake. Very small one. So yeah, this doesn't change. Life path, love the life path. This was, I mean, well, I guess Traveler did it first. This one just did it more legibly. and a little, I mean, Traveler's life path is a little dry. It is very militaristic. It doesn't have a lot of flavor to this one. The Cyberpunk life path basically feels more lifelike, for lack of a better word. And this is brilliant, but you know, and you can convert life paths to anything. You're always talking about backgrounds and building characters. Every game should have something like this in it. Some version of it. I mean, obviously, if you're playing something like, you know, a OSR dungeon crawl where people die every 5 seconds, maybe not, but and then different, just more life paths. It's funny how we wanted this future. This was the future a lot of people wanted. And there were so many movies and TV shows and comic books and Japanese anime and just embraced cyberpunk. This was the future we wanted. You know, we were promised that atomic future in the 1960s, you know, the roadside attraction future, the neon future, whatever you want to call it, you know, a robot in every house, a summer home on the moon. Little Jimmy doesn't need to go to school today. All he needs to do is swallow his info pill. And, you know, the Jetsons, the Route 66 future that we were promised that never happened. We were promised a future of hope, and we didn't get that. Instead, we took a look at the world of the 80s, and we saw the future, and it looked grim. So maybe that's why we embraced cyberpunk so much, and that's why pop culture embraced cyberpunk so much. Here we have the nuts and bolts. Yeah, the interlock system is great. It works great for this. It works great for Mech-Dun. But there's, like, when I tried to do interlock fantasy and we were doing early before it became fusion, yeah, it didn't work. When I tried to hack this to superheroes, because I kept bugging Mike, hey, let's hack this to superheroes. And finally I said, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to hack it to superheroes and then show Mike. Didn't work. So yeah, but yeah, it's a good system. I love it. The only reason that I think you would need to update it, other than to keep it relevant, is the technology has changed. So now you look at technology today, like, you know, weapons and stuff, and then you have to speculate, okay, this is what this looks like now. What's it going to look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Knowing what tech exists now, how prevalent will that tech be? So I'm sure that's part of the reason why they had to update it. Plus there was the video game. Plus there was the deal with Netflix. So here's the gear system. Oh, I love the commercials. I love the little ads. I'm putting a lot of those in the product I'm working on now. Does this have AI art in it? Of course it has AI art. It's cyberpunk. It would be a sin to not put AI art in cyberpunk. The whole thing should be AI art, and it should have been done jokingly. And here's where the section where cyberpunk drowns out. Here's the worst section: net running, you know, or the intricate flaw of the system, or any system that has that type of character in it, where you have the guy who's only really good for one thing, but when he's doing his one thing, nobody else can do anything to help. And when everybody else is doing their thing, there's very little for that guy to do. So, you know, the net runner is great in their setting, running the net. But everything else, the net runner's like, oh, hey, a fight. I can't do shit. Oh, hey, yeah, you know. And then when it's the net runner's turn, and everybody else is just sitting around going, okay, what are we going to do while he wastes a half an hour running the net? So it looks like they improved it a little, but still, it just basically, how do you do it so everybody feels involved? And it's really more of the storytelling. You want the net runner to feel like, or the whatever, to feel like you still matter throughout the game. That's why I always tell people you can always throw a rock. You know, whenever somebody says in the game, I can't do anything because my character blank, I was like, you can always throw a rock. There's never a situation where you can't do something. You know, just because you don't have this specific skill set that specifically goes with this specific situation. I can't do anything in the combat because I'm a net runner. I'm a medic. What am I supposed to do? And I was like, throw rocks. You can always throw rocks. You can always push a button. You can always pull somebody out of combat. So even when the net runner is stuck in a situation where there's no net running involved, you never want them to feel left out. Vice versa, when it's the net runner's time to shine, you want everybody else to feel like they're still contributing and not just sitting there for an hour twiddling their thumbs. So that's the precipice that you have to think. More cyberpunk. Wetware, hardware, cosmetic wear. Some cyberpunk thing out there right now on TV. I don't know. Probably loves sex and robots. There was Edgerunner on Netflix, but other than that, it's kind of died out. The cyberpunk future came and went, and now we're looking more at the, Hunger Games future, maybe? I don't know what genre our current future would be. Seriously, doubt we're going to the stars. Don't see aliens invading us anytime soon. If at all. If you were an alien, would you want to invade us? Other than maybe you need water? You'd look at us and go, no, these guys are idiots. Let's invade somebody smart. More math, the weapons, the armor, how everything works. Nothing's changed. I love these. Yeah, it's Cyberpunk. What can I say about Cyberpunk Red that hasn't been said? Or what Cyberpunk Red became? Cyberpunk 2027, Cyberpunk Edgerunner, Cyberpunk what's ever next. It's a great system. It's a fun game. It's a fun genre. Is it relevant today? Because now the Cyberpunk feature has passed us by. We're past that expiration date. We're past the expiration date of pretty much every predicted science fiction future. So by the time 2030 rolls around, we're going to be way past Star Trek, everything. And none of the futures have happened. We didn't get our atomic future. We didn't get our diesel punk future. We didn't get our neon future. We didn't get the 80s never ends future. We didn't get cyberpunk. We didn't get Star Trek. We just sort of got whatever you would call this time period. Sort of 21st century blah. This the century of a lot of little wars. I don't know what you'd call this time period, but it's definitely not the future that we predicted. Like I said at the beginning, 1960s, war's over, the 50s are over. It's the space age. We're promised this shining world of the future. Buck Rogers, flying cars, a complete meal and a pill, technology helping you so we can become better humans. Star Trek. We were promised a future of hope. We didn't get that. We got the 90s, and then we got the 2000s. We got the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. The 60s, the summer of love in Vietnam. That wasn't what the 50s promised us. The 70s, disco and punk rock. And the Cold War. That's not what the futures promised us. The 80s were fucking awesome, but still, it's not what the future of the 60s promised us when we hit the 80s. When we hit the 80s, we were looking at the promised future of the 60s and going, that didn't happen. Look at the technology of today. Look at the future. We're going to have Blade Runner. It's going to be the cyberpunk future. Well, now it's 2025. The cyberpunk future didn't happen. Looking at the technology of today, especially in the fields that are the most advanced technologically, and wondering what the future is going to be. Is it going to be Hunger Games? Or is it just sort of going to be sprawl? Like cyberpunk without the cyber. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, modern day ghost towns, maybe. Stepford Wives. Westworld. I guess we'll see what happens in another 5 years. But I As much as I love it, I don't see the cyberpunk future happening. I don't really see the Hunger Games future happening either. But I guess it depends what happens environmentally and politically over the next 5 years. But yeah, at least there's no zombies. So there we go. There's my review of Cyberpunk Red. If you're a fan of the genre, it's a great game. It's not for everyone. And there's so many iterations of Cyberpunk, but this was first. This was the game that did it first, you know, and this was the game that gave us everything that came after. It gave us an entire genre based upon a couple books. And then Gibson coined the term cyberspace, and everything else was, yeah, awesome. There you go. I am glad to have been my small part in the cyberpunk genre, my little bit of cyberpunk fame. Yeah. The 80s and early 90s were a weird, wacky, wonderful time, you know, as I often refer to it as the last great summer of childhood, especially growing up in the 80s in the San Fernando Valley, you know, that never-ending hope of just the future we were going to have. And then instead we get this, which in many ways looks exactly the same as it did in the 80s. So I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure out what's next. I am smart enough to tell you at this point in time that if you appreciate the nonsense that's just coming out of my mouth for the past 30 minutes, please take a moment to like, share, subscribe. You can support the OGGM Adventures by clicking the Ko-Fi link down below, donating some money to the Feed the Cat Fund. Or if you want something tangible for your hard-earned megabucks, you could use my link to pick yourself up a set of Only Crits dice. I am an Only Crits affiliate. Only Crits, the only dice officially approved by Steve the Cat. But the best way to support me, as always, of course, is to head over drive-thru and pick up my products that are on sale for $6 each and support the OGGM. See ya.
Tales of fortune, ghost towns round another bend. Tanks half empty, but I'm rolling, chasing dreams I'll never know. In this hard land, I've been searching for a place to call my